yes.
Okay, so let's share the screen, and let's have a look. Let's have a look. Now I haven't premeditated anything, so everything's going to be done with you guys live.
Perfect.
Okay, that's just my last chart. Sorry, I'm just going to do this quickly. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep, perfectly fine.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, I've switched it over to black mode, so it pops out a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that.
I like that.
All right. So, right. So we keep reiterating that we are in a bear market, as we can see very clearly, in terms of a major market move. Now,
right.
Sorry. First of all, guys, we are talking about Bitcoin and not Ethereum. I will get to Ethereum afterwards, even though we were talking about Ethereum first.
That's right.
Okay. So a lot of the times the guys are starting. Okay, let me just start again. So a lot of the reason why people are losing confidence in the market is because of these retracements. And if you don't understand what a retracement is in a bear market, then sure, you are going to lose confidence. So, for example, here we went up to about $12,000 roughly. So people obviously thought that we were out of this sort of bear market over here, and people said, "Okay, great, guys. You know, we're out of the sticks. We hit 6,000 at the bottom here, and now we're going to shoot back up." We hit this 12,000, and we retraced according to the previous movement and came back down to 6,000. We then retraced again, getting people's hopes up. And at this point, we then came back down. Again, people losing confidence, saying, "Oh my God, Bitcoin's going to shit, it's going to die." Yeah. Then we came back down. And again, we retraced. So all that's been happening throughout this entire cycle is these are known as bear retracements. And we have to go through them naturally. So in our most recent one, which was 7,500, we had more of a consolidation, sideways movement here versus the rest. But nonetheless, we consolidated nicely, which actually played out in our favor, because that obviously means we play less of a ping pong game until we get to the end of here before we break out. Yeah. So essentially what we're saying is, now that we've shot up to 7.5, which is what I was speaking about earlier in terms of against that Goldman Sachs trade when I placed my sell order at 7430, that was around this level here. Now. Right. You could have shorted the market looking at this chart for the simple fact that we have a descending trend line with a wedge. We've got Fibonacci that obviously shows us at this point here that that this was the roof at 78.6. You can see that quite clearly. And again, we've now come back to this baseline of. I just want to zoom in here. Yeah, there we go. So we've got two main support structures here. We've got a 6130, and we've got that 5.8 that everyone keeps talking about. That 5.8 comes from previous wicks. Okay, so that is essentially the bottom of this channel. Well, our sort of trampoline savior, if you will. That'll kind of skyrocket us back up. But this would be this is our real support, which is why we saw this level over here. Believe it or not, guys, I had a buy order at exactly this point. So again, it's not that I have a crystal ball. I'm buying and I'm selling based on technical analysis and not fundamentals at this point. So it's very safe to say now that we will more than likely look at going from this point to around the $7,000 mark based on this channel. If we take our Fibonacci tool at this level here, and we pull from this top to this bottom, always left to right. Let's see what sits in line with 7,000, 78.6, once again, which is exactly what the 78.6 was back here. You can see this blue line over here is also the 78.6 over here. So it's not a coincidence that these things are happening. Look at our RSI, also oversold. We've hit the bottom at that point here, which was our first support. And so now we can safely say that our next target is around 771, depending how long we might come up and come back down and trade a little bit sideways before coming back up, but we're very, very likely to come back up to the $7,000 mark. Right. If we shot up vertically in the next 2 to 3 days, we will very likely find 78.6. But if we run sideways for the next 2 to 3 days, we'll very likely find 61.8, which is just under 7K. And so, as I said, the longer we run sideways, the better for us, because we're not playing ping pong for, we're playing ping pong for less of a time. So
Right.
it just means that the bear market is coming closer to an end, which is at this level down here. Now, for me, I can see this bear market coming into a close probably, I mean, again, I hate giving time analysis, but if I had to give some sort of timeline, I would say that within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to be out of this bear market.
All right. 4 to 6 weeks, you're thinking.
4 to 6 weeks. Look, again, I might be totally wrong. We might be consolidating here for a while and then come back up, come back down, you know, until we get there. It might be 8 weeks, but you know, I just want to make mention to a lot of the guys watching that if you place your trades, or when you place your trades, don't put time pressure on your trades, because guys, whether you're making, you know, your $30,000, you know, now or in 6 months, be sure that you're making it. So don't make trades or execute trades based on time pressure, because then just makes you impatient. You start making silly decisions. You know, the general market sentiment starts eating at you, or the comments on social media, on Facebook. You know, forget about all the noise and really just stick to the strategy. So if you've now got in and the target is 7,000, for example, hold it out. Even if it hits 6,6 and comes back down, it's going to come back up at this point. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Very, very likely. So if you come back up and now you see yourself come back down, don't say, oh my God, the market's going to flop, I'm going to lose my money. Just hang on, just wait, because it will come back up.
Okay.
And that's my BTC analysis. In terms of the Bitcoin longs and shorts, let's just have a look at that as well. So let's go longs. Here we go. Okay. So the longs have dropped off quite nicely. Okay. In comparison to the shorts, obviously. So for me, this shows a loss of confidence in the market, which is contrary to what we were seeing on our previous chart, or on our Bitcoin chart rather. And if we compare that to our shorts, let's have a look at what that looks like. Okay, the shorts have also come back up to that all-time high, as we saw a couple of days back, and is now starting to come off. So for me, they're both kind of sitting in par. Not the strongest indicator of where we're going in the market based in terms of these charts, but it gives us an idea that, you know, a lot of people at this point in time, when we hit that 7.5, that's why we had this candle. That's why we saw this vertical movement. So if guys are looking for tools and kind of extra confirmations, check the BTC longs and shorts as well. It gives a nice indication. Over and above with that, let's have a look at our crypto fear and greed. At the time of when we shot up, we were sitting at about, I think it was about 11, if I can remember. So extreme fear psychologically in the market just gives a buying opportunity. I think I've shown this a few times, but it says it right here. So when we see extreme fear, it can be a sign that investors are too worried. That could be a buying opportunity. Contrary to that, when investors are getting too greedy, it means that the market is due for a correction. So again, we've hit the bottom of our RSI. We've hit the bottom of that channel. The extreme fear index is showing us, you know, that it's sitting quite low. So we're very likely to come back up. Let's move over to another index tool. So here we're looking at shorts. So our shorts on BitMEX specifically is 51.3 and 48.64. Not the biggest difference, but it just shows that the sentiment on BitMEX, or on BitMEX rather, you know, that the traders believe that that there's going to be a drop in Bitcoin rather than a climb. Again, this might be one of those instances that we see shorts increasing so that there can be a short squeeze. Happened many, many times. If we look at our indicators on Binance, Bitfinex, Bitthumb, and Bitflyer, we've got a weak sell in motion, not a strong sell. So that just indicates also, you know, that we're kind of looking almost towards the neutral part. So there's not too much information on this chart that's telling us, you know, that the market's going to go up or down. So our three strongest indicators on Bitcoin is this number 13 in terms of the index for extreme fear, our RSI on the BTC chart, as well as our Fibonacci and our support level. So I'm leaning more towards Bitcoin shooting up to around $7,000, depending on how long we run sideways for. And that's my conclusion.
And so this channel that you're showing us right now, this is till the end of those 8 weeks, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're thinking, and just so that people understand how the wedges work, basically at the decision point where the candles are coming to that, that nice little ending point, it's either going to do two things. Obviously, one's going to go up, one's going to go down. Is there any way, if you're someone who's never traded before, but you're starting just trying to learn about ascending and descending channel triangles, like how do you know, or what would we look at to know if it's going to go above that or if it's going to drop down lower? What's the things that you look at anyways?
So so the main thing is the market. So the current market movement. So what is the major current market movement? So the first thing you got to identify is, are we in a bull market or a bear market, or even in a consolidation market? If we've been in a bear market and we can see that the confidence level has been weaning off, and we can see that it's fizzling out, and we've got multiple support signs at 5.8 and 6.1, we're very likely going to have a breakout rather than a breakdown.
Right.
If it was contrary and we were in a bull market, I mean, we saw the opposite. Obviously, we would look at a breakdown rather than a breakout. So for me, it's more of a holistic thing rather than just looking at the wedge triangle. So it would be a multitude of the different tools. So it would be my RSI, it would be my Fibonacci, which I cannot live without. That's my ultimate savior. So if you guys want to, really learn about Fibonacci, I highly recommend it. It's such a phenomenal tool. And again, along with the trend lines as well as the market movement.
Do you ever use sorry, I'm just cutting you off there for a second. I just want to know if you ever use do you ever use the Elliott waves?
Elliott wave
3.
So Elliott wave, I will use Elliott wave on the much bigger time frames, and it's quite interesting that you bring it up. So let's just have a look. Let's just move it to 1 month. Let's refresh it. So ultimately, if you're looking at Elliott wave, how many waves can you guys see here? How many movements can you see there?
1 or 2, 3, maybe? Two.
There are 2 movements.
One up and one down?
One up, one down. That's it. That is the lifespan of Bitcoin. There's one movement up and one movement down. Now, the theory on Elliott wave, and this is, again, I'm not an Elliott wave trader, but I do understand the rules behind it. So Elliott wave basically states that once you've peaked at wave 1, wave 2 is always a downward wave, and wave 3 has to be the longest wave in against wave 1 and wave 5. So essentially now what we should see is actually, let me do this. Let me pull it out. Where is it? Elliott wave 155. There we go. So we should see something like this. We should see 1, 2.
Along 3.
3, exactly.
Yep.
4, I'm going to move my screen now so I can just alter that. Sorry, guys. Give me a sec. Pull that down. So we should see something. Oh, come on. Oh, no, man. There we go. I haven't got my mouse with me. Okay, so we're looking at something like this.
Yep.
To this effect, 4 cannot come into the region of number 2. So it needs to stay above that. And number 5 needs to stay above the finishing point of number 3. So we're seeing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 needs to stay above number 2, and number 5 needs to be higher than number 3. So this is effectively what we should see according to Elliott wave. Right. Again, I'm not an Elliott wave trader, but if I had to guess, this would be my guess.
Right.
Essentially. Cool. If you want, I can do a quick analysis on what the future price is of Bitcoin in terms of our next bull run.
Absolutely. Well, you said it's not too far away, so I mean, people should probably get their socks on and ready to go.
We take our last low. So our last high. We're looking at, sorry, the other way around. Apologies. Get the last high to the last low. Assuming now that we come back down to, call it 6,058, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Okay. In major market moves, we look for extensions and not reversals or not retracements. So essentially, we're going for anything above 100%. So we're looking at so this level here of 127.2%, which is around 23,500. Usually we go for 28,000. Sorry, usually we go for 161 to 80 because of the theory of the push and pull expansion in Fibonacci, that 61.8 is equal to 161.8. So we should have that sort of equilibrium sort of kind of play out. So this would be the major target, $28,300. And so my guess is once confidence comes back into the market, and like we saw in December, people are going to want to jump on that bandwagon, and I'm guessing that's what's going to take us to 40,000.
Right on.
So 28 is my guess, but if we're lucky, we may see 40,000.
I mean, that's good. I mean, people will be very happy to see that, I'm sure.
Listen, absolutely. I'd be very happy to see that.
I mean, I'm sure all of us would. Because, I mean, everyone knows that whatever we have follows the others, like whatever we have follows each other, right? So that's the key point.
Absolutely.
Knowing
Look, I mean, a lot of the times I see the comments, and I just wanted to clarify this as well. A lot of the times I'll see comments on social media where guys say, Tron has gone to shit, or Ethereum's gone to shit, or Ripple, or whatever it is. Guys, we're in a bear market. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If BTC is going down, the others are going to go down.
Yep.
BTC is the front runner. It's the most used coin. So, I mean, like we compare gold to the dollar. In this instance, we're comparing Bitcoin to every other cryptocurrency. So if Bitcoin is going down, every other coin is going to go down. So just bear that in mind.
It's good peace of mind for people to think about too.
Right. Okay. So, let's have a look at more of a holistic perspective. Okay. So very similar to Bitcoin, as we can see. Mm-hmm. The only difference in this chart is that we've got different bottoms. So at this point here, we came down here, and then now we've got this one here, and this should have been the bottom for Ethereum at this level here, but now we've come down to this level here. And that comes in from, I'm literally doing the analysis with you guys live. So I just need to look for all the pricing. Okay, so this should have been our bottom, okay, at this level here. But with that news that came out, we see this red vertical candle over here, and we found support at this level down here, which is on Fibonacci. Let me just pull it up. So we go from this level here to up here, and have a look at that. Just above, I'm going to just refresh that. Just above the 161. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay. So proves the theory over and over and over. That 161.8 is the golden rule, and that's kind of where we stuck it out at. We did come a little further down below that, even though 203 was the mark, but we found support with that. So in Fib, I always use my support and resistance levels along with the Fibonacci. So this would have been the next support level at this level here, which is why we're seeing a bit of a green candle. In terms of where it may go, let's have a look. Okay, there's your number, 125. Mm-hmm. Okay, so based on this last move over here, Ethereum, if it doesn't find support at this level here and gets rejected by this downtrend line, which is very, very likely based on previous moves. Our bottoms moved multiple times. Up there it was 1, 2, 3. This is now our fourth one. We may very well come down to this 261.8%. So for me, Ethereum shouldn't come lower than 125. That would be my sort of bottom target if I was shorting Ethereum in this specific move. If we look at the RSI though, contrary to that, can you see the color quite nicely, or is it a bit faded?
The RSI is a little bit faded, yeah.
Let me just change that for you.
Yeah, it's just the color. It's kind of like blending a bit.
How's that?
Definitely much better.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys.
It's looking very underbought, actually, right now, in my opinion.
Very, very, very oversold.
Yeah, or oversold. Sorry.
Very, very, very oversold. Yeah. So very oversold, and that obviously indicates that there should be a market turnaround, as we see every single time. We see it here. I can pull back. You'll see it multiple times. You see it over here. We shot back up. RSI is a very reliable tool that you guys can use, and I highly recommend it as well. And I've just so I got to bring it back.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we saw it. I'll bring it back later. All right. So we see that RSI was oversold, indicating that the market should see a reversal. We are sitting at this 161, just past it. So for me, we're very likely to bounce off here and kind of see 269 as the main resistance according to the downtrend line, as well as our last resistance level up here of our consolidation. In terms of Fibonacci, if we had to pull from the one level to the other, so if we come from the top down to the bottom here, let's see, we're sitting exactly at that 78.6. What a surprise. Okay, so 78.6 sitting in line with that downtrend line. We're looking at a roughly $276.50 as your cap before we come back down. And that's it.
Where do you see us ETH going after this? Like after this channel's done? I mean, I know you're not a financial advisor. You're not going to give financial advice. But what do you think is going to happen at this point? Where are we going with ETH? Is ETH? Because I just want to kill the FUD of ETH is dead. And it's gotten to the point where even me, it's getting annoying. Like I don't want to listen to people continually say it all the time. So if we can give any confidence to some people that watch, that would be amazing. Because I feel bad for some people these days because they're really stressing out.
I get it. So if I had to predict based on charting and Fib alone, which I rely on very heavily, we take our last top to our bottom, which is our December high, assuming that this is the end, assuming that this 280 is the end, okay, that it doesn't go lower than this. It might come down to that 135, but assuming this is the worst case, we are looking at a target price of $2,200, 172.2.
Right.
At the end of the next bull run. Best case scenario, again, if confidence jumps on board and you have speculative investors, we're looking at a maximum of 3.5, which was Bitcoin's $43,000 in the region of.
So it's going to follow Bitcoin. You think everything is going to follow Bitcoin, or you think some of these shit coins are just going to eventually have to die now?
Again, I might sound crazy by saying this, but Bitcoin sets the standard in the market.
No,
Bitcoin sets the standard in the market.
Well, I mean, have you ever had this argument with people telling me, like, I mean, have this argument probably once a week with someone to try and explain this to them. They say, like, yeah, Bitcoin won't always be the top. And, you know, I think that it's potentially maybe that's possible. But my thing that I say is, what happens when crypto has eaten all the fiat and everything is in crypto? Then what backs what? And I said, that's the only, and everyone says Bitcoin's slow and it's hard to move around. And I said, yeah, that's the perfect example why we should back everything off of it. What do you think? 100%. I'm just curious about your thoughts.
Look, so decoupling is something that I'm actually hoping for. Right now, it makes trading much easier because I just follow one trade. Obviously, the percentage moves will differ because of the price points, but essentially, there will be a decoupling at some point, and I really hope it does happen, or it should happen at some point. I don't see it happening anytime soon. It's way too early to tell. Again, if you're looking at the chart right now that I'm looking at, that looks like Ethereum. If people weren't concentrating, they would have thought that they're still looking at Ethereum. That looks like Bitcoin as well. Guys, this is NEO.
Yep.
It's exactly the same. It's identical. So again, the only thing that changes is the value. So if we use our Fib tool and we pull from our last top or the highest high to our current low, which by the way, NEO has bottomed out at, and at $14, I didn't make mention that it would have been a fantastic trade. I'm sure you'll recall that. And today we're sitting at about $18, $19. So that would have been a beautiful trade for you.
Actually went up to 23, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Went up to 23, precisely. Actually, 20. Yeah, well, about Yeah,
it was like 20.
So this is our end of the next bull run target. We're looking at this main target of around $300 with $500 confidence.
That would be awesome. I would love for that. What about for Ripple? I'm curious about that one now too.
I'm gonna do a little comparative analysis for you in terms of what these John McAfee's and all these other crazy guys are talking about having $50,000 by the end of the year and so on and so forth. If we did the same analysis right now on Fibonacci with Bitcoin, and you guys saw, according to the 161 and the 261.8, that our targets were 28,000 and 43,000, and I've just done the same analysis for altcoin, which usually climbs higher or higher in percentage than Bitcoin, I mean, the chances of it hitting 500 is very, very likely. And the chances of Ethereum hitting that 3,500 is very, very likely.
Yeah.
I wanna just do another one for you guys. Let's look at an XRP.
Yeah.
End of the year.
Because they hit highs, man. They went. What was the top of it? $33.40 something cents or something stupid.
Yeah, it was exactly $3.30.
Okay.
$3.30.
So literally 6 cents away from when CNBC told everyone to buy Ripple at $3.23. That was smart, wasn't it?
Listen,
Responsible.
buy the rumor, sell the news.
Hell yeah, man. And the news in this market, it seems like you're better off not looking at the news at all.
Before I scroll this down, I'm sure some of your followers would have already read that the end of the year target was $8 and $10.
Yeah.
And again, for me, I don't like to call it the end of the year. I'd rather say the end of the next bull run.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because of this. Is it coincidence? There's your $8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now fundamentally, because you're looking at holistic side, you know that Ripple's going XRapid's going active in Q4. They have banks already signed up. I mean, maybe only a couple banks start, but they're not just going to be a couple banks at the end. Where do you think, or why do you think people are saying Ripple for $10, $20, $30? And do you think the banks, because they're going to use it, is that going to be the driving force?
Look, so we know that Ripple or XRapid is trying to replace the SWIFT system.
Yeah.
If they take a percentage of their market share, that simply means that anyone who's a hodler at the moment will benefit from that drastically, for the simple reason that there'll be more dollars going into XRP. Obviously, essentially driving the price further up. Now, if you're an investor looking at the chart, or you're a trader looking at that chart, you're looking for $8. But again, if you're using it in terms of its utilization, in terms of sending money abroad, that's just going to increase the market cap, and may very well go past $8, and hit 15, 20. I mean, we don't know. It could hit 100, but I mean, when will that happen? Nobody knows.
Sure.
So again, I rather use data and statistics and fundamentals and trading, or TA rather, and be safe at $8. I'm not a greedy trader, so I'll put my sell order in at $7 instead of $8. Depending on how much I hold, I'm willing to take that risk of it not running to $8, but I know I've made a hell of a profit. So in summary, I mean, I wouldn't take the risk based on speculative numbers like $15. I just trust the charts. I trust the charts and I trust the numbers. So I'll stick out of that.
Nice.
And that's it.
All right. Well, Ripple,
and that's it.
Ripple's interesting.
Anything else?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, we don't want to take everyone's day, a whole day, but I think there's a lot that people can learn from this, and hopefully they understand that, this is normal. And even though you're new at trading, and even though it seems like we should be moving up, we both called this, honestly. We both said it's going to go to 75. I said it dropped not as much as you, but I said it was going to drop and test. And I mean, look at it. Look at that chart. It literally did exactly what we said it was going to do. It tests twice already now, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you came from a fundamental perspective, not from the technical one, and
I mean, I actually looked at a technical. I was looking at a Wyckoff stages and theories and chart psychology patterns in the past, or what they usually do, and it was like, well, this is going to happen, and it's exactly what did. Even though it's irrational though, because people just all of a sudden forget that we tell them like it's going to drop again, and they're like, no, it's not. Psychologically, it's going to go up for sure. And I'm trying to break that down. I don't know if there's any strategies you use to help people understand that, like, that whole psychological thing is made up in your mind. Is there a way for us to help people understand how do you understand when you're going on tilt, for example, and you're telling yourself something's going to, or do you never do that? So, I mean, I know most traders do that once in a while. Once in a blue moon, you're like, I'm sure of something, and you just do it, and you don't really, you're not really making as good a decision as you normally would. It's emotional. You ever get that? Did you ever get that?
Listen, it happens. It doesn't happen once in a while. It happens every day.
Yeah.
Emotional and psychological barriers play a huge part in trading specifically. So what I do personally is before I execute a trade. So I have a list of do's and don'ts, and I refer to them every time I execute a trade. And one of them, funny enough, is am I executing a trade based on FOMO or from my stomach, where your emotions sit,
feeling, yeah.
or am I calm, collected? Am I relaxed and making a sound decision? And that's really what it boils down to when it comes to psychological and emotional versus doing or executing a trade based on facts or statistics.
True.
So, I mean, if I could, I would say that any of the traders on here that are looking for, any advice based on that, put that question down on a piece of paper and have a bunch of other questions based on failures that you've had or trades that you've lost, and write what not to do. And read it every single time, not once, not twice. Read it every single time you execute a trade, because you will forget one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good advice. I mean, I have my own trading rules sheet. Like, have you been watching the market? It's one of my questions. Have you been watching? Are you watching go up and down and up and down, up and down? Are you getting emotional because of it?
100%.
I think that's probably the thing that costs people the most in trading personally. Like just watching a market and getting scared and being like, I should sell, not just trusting the process, basically. How did you teach yourself, or how did you teach other people just to trust the process of this whole thing going down? Like, it's really hard for people just to trust that something's going to go up or down based off technical analysis. Is there any advice you give someone, especially for me, to that I deal with a lot of people that, are new to trading? Is there any advice you can give me to give them to pass on as an experienced trader? Ways to not do those types of things.
School fees, bro. School fees.
Yeah.
You have to pay it. You have to pay it. You have to go through that cycle. You have to lose some money before you start making some. I paid a lot of school fees. Trust me. For me, I mean, it's one thing reading a rule out of a book, and another thing actually executing that thing. Because going through the actual journey, you'll learn your own lessons. Because at the end of the day, what the book isn't taking into account is your psychological level. Yeah. How disciplined are you in controlling your emotions? What is your risk versus reward? What is your budget sitting at? How much are you willing to lose? Every trader is different, and every trader will prioritize a different tool, whether it's fundamentals or Fibonacci or Elliott wave, whatever it is. Each trader is unique. So in terms of that, I mean, you literally just have to go through the process. You literally have to go through the process.
I agree. You got a nice compliment today.
Yeah.
From
Sorry, say that again?
No, I was saying the girl was giving you a nice comment on one of the channels.
Yeah, that was cool.
Saying that
that was cool.
You're a pretty good technical analysis guy, because you were hit it spot on. It was like, I've been telling people that for a few weeks. Come on now, people, wake up. Because I don't know.
Shout out to Crypto Girl. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that.
No, but I don't know if you noticed, I worked with the guy when I first started out. He seemed really great. And what I learned over time was he was just making stuff up. Honestly, like, the more I learned about trading, like, really in depth, and the more I read, like, the more I questioned his motives and how he traded. And then at one point he said, I don't use Elliott waves. I use my own waves that I've created. And I was like, yeah, you can't be associated with me anymore. So guys, I just want you guys to know I've done my due diligence. Yasser, showed me various times that he definitely knows what he's talking about before I brought him on the show. So this is someone who you can feel confident in talking to. So get on Crypto Nomads, give him some support. You guys have my grace and my blessings. Because him and I do this, we're going to do other stuff together too. So it's just getting started. And I hope you guys, from what I've heard from the guys, and I'm sure you've seen the comments, a lot of positive feedback. And I know that everyone in my community, and I'm sure in yours, really appreciate all the stuff you do. So thank you for that, Yasser. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the compliments. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm just being honest. Compliments can be honest.
Okay, cool.
I'm not shelling you, I promise.
Listen, I'm gonna create a coin after my name.
Okay, we're gonna call the
Yash
coin. Yes.
Just Yash.
All right. Well, yeah, man. Thanks a lot for coming today. And thank you all guys for watching. And we'll see you guys on the next one. All right.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
All right, Crypto Nomads, Crypto Education, sign off. And guys, I'll see y'all later. Bye now.